Somewhere right now, a man is staring at his phone, asking why love turned cold. He blames looks and luck, yet a quiet truth waits. The rules ahead will shake what you know about respect and emotional strength. If you felt invisible or scared to lose her, listen close. Don't blink. The last rule rewrote my story. Stay till the end and see how hearts are earned without games. I want you to comment your location where you watch and tell your city so this voice finds you. Subscribe the channel and join a family that chooses growth over silence and love over fear and hold hope alive always together. Still today, remember me, friend, believe again, rise. I want you to imagine sitting in front of someone you care about, not as a strategist hiding cards, but as a fully formed human being. Influence, in its truest psychological sense, has never been about levers and secret codes. It grows from the architecture of the self. Philosophers from Aristotle to contemporary thinkers like Jessica Opare remind us that character is a climate. People step into that climate and either feel warmth or feel a storm. When a man has no internal order, he reaches for external tricks, and those tricks may create brief reactions, yet they collapse because they are not rooted in anything solid. You have seen this in ordinary life. The person who speaks calmly, who knows why he woke up in the morning, who carries boundaries the way a house carries walls, is naturally heard. Psychology calls this congruence. Philosophy calls it integrity. Women, and honestly all people, detect the gap between performance and essence within minutes. Body language leaks the truth. A disciplined mind produces a disciplined presence, and that presence becomes more persuasive than 100 rehearsed lines. Self-mastery means you are not negotiating from fear of loss, but from clarity of value. Think deeper for a moment. Plato argued that the unexamined life is slavery. Modern relationship science echoes him. The man who has not explored his beliefs becomes dependent on approval. He begs for attention because he has not learned how to generate meaning. Jessica Opare often says, confidence is a conversation you hold with yourself first. I would tell you the same from an authoritative standpoint. Build routines, build knowledge, build the ability to listen. Listening is not passive. It is intellectual strength. You guide minds when you can host another person's story without trembling. And let us be direct about boundaries. Authority in relationships is moral before it is emotional. When you know what you will accept and what you will not, you stop sending mixed signals. Mixed signals invite chaos. Clear, direct speech backed by consistent action creates safety. Safety opens the nervous system. Openness allows attraction and respect to breathe. This is psychological depth made simple. No mind can be reached through pressure for long, yet it can be reached through trust again and again, because trust is renewable energy. I am speaking to you the way Jessica Opare would in a lecture. Intellect on one arm, humanity on the other. Become a man worth trusting, and you will not need to control outcomes. You will shape them by the gravity of who you are. That is the philosophical core. Examine your life, strengthen your emotions, and stand before her without masks. The final truth I want to leave in this flow is this: you influence the world not when you seize a mind, but when you cultivate a soul that invites reflection. Master yourself, and every relationship will reveal its natural direction. Act from that mastery rather than from fear. You have to approach emotions the way a linguist approaches a language that existed long before he was born. Attraction and connection are not mechanical events. They are interpretations formed inside the nervous system and the imagination. Jessica Opare often explains that human beings move toward feelings before they move toward people. I would tell you, from an authoritative psychological standpoint, that when a woman feels understood, her mind becomes cooperative by choice, not by pressure. Understanding emotions means recognizing that every conversation is happening on two levels: the words you hear and the meaning she builds beneath them. Most men underestimate how intellectual empathy really is. To listen well, you must suspend your ego, organize what you are receiving, and respond with clarity. That is active cognition. When you interrupt or try to dominate the moment, you close the emotional circuitry. Philosophy has always warned us about this. David Hume argued that reason is often a servant of passion, and modern behavioral science agrees people justify what they feel. So, if the feeling you create is safety mixed with a little excitement, the justifications will work in your favor naturally. If the feeling is anxiety, no argument will rescue you for long. Let us be clear and direct. Emotional intelligence rests on a few timeless rules that apply to everyone. Give attention without turning it into begging. Speak honestly rather than decorating the truth to sound impressive. Maintain natural mystery by having a meaningful life outside of her approval, and never use jealousy or shame as tools, because those tools poison the memory even when they seem effective in the minute. Jessica Opare tone is firm about respect because respect is the philosophical ground of desire. When a woman senses that you see her as a subject with dignity, not an object in a game, her emotions soften and curiosity wakes up. You can observe this if you pay attention to body language. The mind and the body are one text written by two pens. A warm voice, patient pauses, and consistent eye contact tell her nervous system that there is order in front of her. Order reduces fear of loss. People open when they do not feel they must defend themselves. Psychology calls this emotional safety. I call it the doorway where genuine attraction stands waiting. Compliments should be precise and real, not exaggerated, because exaggeration signals manipulation, and women detect that gap quickly. And there is a philosophical depth to patience. Relationships grow in time the way ideas mature in study. When you invest slowly, communicate your needs directly, and accept her right to say no, you demonstrate moral authority. Moral authority is more persuasive than psychological theatrics. Jessica Opare often sounds like a professor of the heart, translating science into ordinary courage. I want you to do the same. Learn to read emotions, respond rather than react, and allow choice to remain alive in every interaction. The concise truth within this flow is simple yet deep. You do not program emotions, you host them. Host them with intellect and kindness, and the mind in front of you will lean closer out of natural curiosity. That is accessible philosophy backed by modern psychology. No hack can outperform empathy that is practiced daily. Study emotions, speak with respect, and act with patience, and you will discover that real connection persuades more powerfully than any game ever could. Let that insight move you to listen better tonight. Trying to dominate another human being has always sounded like power in crowded internet slogans, yet in real psychological life it is usually a confession of weakness. Jessica Opare often speaks about autonomy the way a seasoned professor speaks about gravity, something invisible but unavoidable. When a woman feels that you are attempting to capture her choices, her mind quietly begins to move backward. Resistance is a natural defense of the self. I would tell you, with intellectual authority, that freedom is not the enemy of influence. It is the soil where influence becomes legitimate. Look at relationships through a philosophical lens for a moment. Every lasting bond is a contract renewed each day without signatures. You lead not by shrinking her world, but by expanding the space where she can breathe and still decide to stay. Modern psychology confirms what older thinkers suggested: people remain loyal to environments where their dignity is protected. If you try to police emotions, you create an inner border patrol in her memory. She may cross it once, twice, yet eventually she chooses a country that does not interrogate her. Most men confuse clarity with control. Clarity says, "This is who I am and these are my boundaries." Control says, "This is who you must be." The difference is moral and neurological. Emotional safety opens the nervous system while coercion activates fear of loss. Jessica Opare tone is firm that attraction should feel like an invitation to reflect, not an order shouted in silence. When you accept a woman's right to say no, you demonstrate philosophical confidence. Confidence that does not need hostages is deeply attractive, and let us be direct about independence. A meaningful life outside of her approval keeps the relationship honest. Jealousy and shame may look effective in a single minute, yet they rot the foundation the way termites rot a beautiful door. Freedom creates curiosity because she is choosing you again rather than serving a trick. Invest slowly, communicate needs with respect, and protect her dignity even in disagreement. Those principles align seamlessly with everything Jessica Opare teaches about mutual growth. You can observe how freedom reshapes memory. The man who listens with patient pauses and consistent action becomes a place rather than a performance. Women stay in places, they leave stages when the curtain falls. Psychology calls this secure attachment, philosophy calls it earned love. I want you to hear this conversational truth the way a lecture becomes personal. You do not win a mind, you cultivate a relationship where two minds walk side by side.